everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Angel and today I'll be sharing some more fun and simple DIYs. For this first project, I'm going to be using these wood blocks from Dollar Tree. These are absolutely adorable as they are, but I figured I could use these to make some winter decor. Now, I wanted to cover up the lettering on these little wood blocks, so I did go in with a couple coats of my white chalk paint and just cover the letters for the square one, and for the rectangular one, I did paint the whole surface. Now, the reason I didn't have to cover the whole square one is because I'm going to be using some of this scrap paper. I got this from Amazon, and of course everything I use will be linked below for you, but I just picked a sheet that I liked and I'm going to go ahead and tear off the bottom, and then I did rip the sides as well because I wanted to make this a kind of collage on this square wood piece. Then I covered the square with some Mod Podge, and I'm going to add that large piece on here first, and then the smaller pieces that I had ripped, I'm going to kind of place them just randomly all around this larger piece. Now I am adding a little bit of Mod Podge as I go, but mostly I'm just using what is left over on my brush, and then whenever I finish putting all the little pieces around here, I will go back over it with just one very light coat of Mod Podge. Now to add the little bit of winter to this project, I'm going to be using this snowflake stencil. This is another one that I picked up from Amazon, and it just fit perfectly on this wood sign. So I'm just using some of my white chalk paint to fill this in. Now, once I lifted this up, I just felt like the paper was sticking out a bit too much. So with the leftover paint that was on my brush, I'm just going around the edge of the paper to blend this in a little bit. For the longer sign, I'm just using some more stencils that I got from Amazon. These are letter stencils, but because I didn't really like the way that the letters looked, I'm just using a black marker to trace in these instead of painting over them. And then I will connect the letters myself and use my paint marker to fill these in. I definitely could have saved some time and just painted these in and then connected them. And I think I did start to fill these in with a Sharpie marker before I used my paint marker, but I did end up just using the paint marker. And here I'm just filling in those gaps before I will paint these letters in. And here's how they turned out. For this next project, I'm just using a Dollar Tree bowl. You can use any bowl for this project. This is just one that I had on hand, and then I am going to be using some of these birchwood stems from Dollar Tree. As you can see, I still have a ton of these left over from Christmas, so I wanted to make a bowl with these. The first thing I'm doing is covering my bowl with some plastic wrap, and then I'm going to start making a base at the bottom of my bowl. Now you just want to make sure that you're not actually getting the glue on the bowl, but you are just gluing these pieces together. Now that being said, this was my first time trying to make one of these birchwood bowls, and so I was kind of learning as I was going, but I do think that making this base that fits the bottom really helped me shape this bowl. So once you get the bottom part made, it's just a matter of kind of picking out pieces that fit around the bowl, and then you're gonna start kind of taking the pieces and gluing them so that you're shaping it around the bowl, but you also want to make sure that you are bracing the pieces with another piece of the birchwood, if that makes sense. But once you have the sides kind of finished, you can go ahead and flip this off of the bowl, and then you'll be able to just start building it upward to finish off the bowl. Hopefully that all makes sense. It's really just very random and just figuring out the pieces that fit. And I do want to add really quick that I did use Gorilla Glue hot glue for this just to make sure it was sturdy. And to finish it off, I added in some white pine cones that I painted and a few little pine picks. This next project is more of a hack and so super easy to do. I really wanted some lit branches for my house, but I definitely did not want to pay for them. So of course, I just went out into my yard and found 3 little branches that kind of looked similar to the ones that are for sale online. And I just grabbed my little jug canister here that I've had for quite some time. This thing definitely needs a makeover soon, but for now it will work for this project. I added in some Dollar Tree floral foam, and then I just placed my little branches down into here. Then for the final touches, I added some Dollar Tree fairy lights, and to cover up my battery pack down in there, I added a few pine cones. This next project is actually inspired by some birchwood candles that I saw at Pottery Barn. Now these are just Dollar Tree candles, and I'm just going to take this little Cricut tool. You can use pretty much anything sharp for this project, but these candles actually have wax on the outside of them. So I'm using this little Cricut tool, and I'm just making some slashes all over these candles. And in some spots, I'm actually going to make some little swirly circles, kind of that would mimic birchwood. Once I was happy with all the markings on my candles, I'm going in with some Waverly antiquing wax and a sponge brush, and I'm gonna go over the entire candle with this. And now I am making sure that where I made the slash marks and the little swirly circles, I'm really pushing this antiquing wax into those creases. And I'm just going to do the same exact thing on the second candle. Now, while this antiquing wax is still wet, I am going to go in with a little bit of gray paint and very randomly add this gray paint around the candle, because birchwood does typically have a little bit of gray and black, so I did want to add some of that too. Now again, while that antiquing wax and the gray paint are still wet, I'm taking a large brush and I'm dry brushing some of my white chalk paint around each of these candles to finish them off. For this final winter project, I wanted to make a snowman wreath to replace my Christmas wreath. So I did pick these up from Dollar Tree, a smaller one and a larger one. And then the first thing I did was just dry brush a little bit of my white chalk paint onto these, just because I wasn't really fond of the color of these. So I just wanted to lighten them up a little bit. To put this together, I'm just using some twine, and all I did was tie this around the top and the bottom. Then I used the excess to just wrap it around a whole bunch of times to make sure that it stays in place, and then I tied a knot at the end. think this is my first ever wreath on my channel. I'm not a huge wreath person, and you'll see as I'm decorating this, I didn't go all out. You can, of course, add a hat, a scarf, whatever you want, but all I did was just add in some of these pine picks that I got from Amazon, and I didn't even have to use any hot glue. I just stuck these right into the wreath form, and at the end, I'm just gonna add in a burlap bow for mine. But again, I'm just a huge fan of really simple decor, and you can do your snowman any way you'd like. And here's how he turned out. And that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed these winter projects. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll see you next time.